So this is an actual question from a reader. Imagine someone slipped a Mickey into your drink and your head starts to spin. Is that grounds for using deadly force to shoot the person who drugged you? In this video, we'll break it down with noted criminal defense attorney Tom Grieve. He's already smiling at me a little bit over there from the old slipped a Mickey. But before we get started, let me let you know that we do have a gun giveaway going on. It's happening now, but it ends soon. What you need to do is go down in the description and click on that link to reveal which brand new gun you could win. Tom, we all know the justification for the use of deadly force is against force that will cause death or great bodily harm. Obviously, this is a person who worked in the age when you slipped somebody a Mickey. If somebody drugs your drink and you feel like you're passing out or your head's starting to spin or something like that, is that justification for the use of deadly force? And maybe we expand this a little bit. The person who drugged you is still there, and what's going to happen? When you're unconscious, you are at their mercy.
Sure. So let's add a little bit of context to this. You're at a bar. You're around other people. Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
No. It's not. If it's me, I guess the advice I would give to someone in that situation is scream, make noise, call attention to yourself, that you're in distress, because if somebody was planning to do something, hopefully that will block that from happening. And hopefully you're there with friends and they can take care of you.
Yeah.
If God forbid that happens. I'm going to bring this question to a different place, though. Anything to add, I guess, on that?
Well, and in a situation like you said, in public, yes, absolutely, you're not going to be using deadly force to defend yourself against this. We'll call it an alleged assault, alleged attack at this point. But could it be something as odd as, suddenly you're no longer in your right mind? I mean, is this the time to be making a decision to use a firearm? That's one of the things that first came to me. Secondly, I'm assuming they slipped this drug into a non-alcoholic beverage, because I don't want people out there, even the places where it's legal, where it's okay to have a drink while you're carrying your gun. Many places it's not. I think that someone carrying a gun should refrain from the use of alcohol just in case, because that will open up another whole can of worms. Did you make the proper judgment because you've had 2 beers? And I'm a police officer. You talk to anybody. How many beers did you have? 2 beers. I had 2. That's it. And if you had 2 beers, are you still thinking straight? So that's part of the question that goes into this, but certainly we can take it another direction. Where are you going with this one?
What if you're alone with the person? What if you're
Yeah.
at their apartment, you're at their house, you're at your apartment, your house, but the point is that you're alone with them?
Yeah.
What do you think then? What says Kevin Michalowski?
Yeah, and at that point, wow, you're looking at a situation where this person is trying to use what we would call a stupefying substance or something like that to are they intent on doing harm? And can you articulate that you had a reasonable fear that for whatever reason it's a bad situation, and putting no judgment down on how bad the situation is or how it got there or what happened leading up to that. But suddenly you realize that this person who you thought was your friend has drugged you and is about to do you harm. Wow, the use of deadly force in that incident, you have nobody else coming to your aid. You are soon going to be unconscious, and you don't know what's going to happen to you after you are unconscious. It could be death. It could be great bodily harm. It could be anything. Anything could happen to you. At that point, the use of deadly force might be justified, but you're going to have to articulate that fear.
Right. Yeah. I mean, rest assured that the other person will claim no more than they were going to roll you for your wallet and cell phone. Right. Even though very likely they probably could have done that without bringing you back to their place, right? I mean, we're obviously talking about some sort of potential homicide, presumably some sort of sexual assault, something like that. This is where you really have to get the proper education and training to know what your local laws are in your state to see what's going to be legal. Because I suspect this might be a situation where what might be lawful in state A might put you behind bars forever in state B. And I also suspect that we're probably in a gray area where you are going to have to be able to articulate why you were, if this was Wisconsin, in reasonable fear of imminent death or great bodily harm when that was happening. And we can all obviously fill in the blank as to what the specific issues here are. You have to be able to speak to what the law is, to know what the law is, and be as ready as possible, I suppose, for horrific situations, if they ever pan out, where you may only have a second or two to decide, how am I reacting to this?
Yeah, and what you're going to do with this. And rolling through my head right now is we started out with this, it was a little bit lighthearted. The asker, the question asker used the term slip the Mickey in
Right.
there, and we're asking this question. But it becomes much more apparent to me how in-depth this could go, and just carry it out to the next logical step. Two people are alone. One person drugs the other, and the person who has been drugged decides to use deadly force, shoots the person who administered the drug. Now we have a dead person. Let's say the bad guy, in this case, dies. You use deadly force in your defense. The bad guy dies. You pass out. The neighbor hears the gunshot. The police arrive. And all we have for witnesses are when the police kick open the door. We have a dead guy with a gunshot and a person who is passed out because of Rufalin or whatever is in their drink. So you, as a former state prosecutor, when you look at this, what do you see?
A disaster.
Yeah.
I have had clients who have been drugged, and their experience seems to be pretty uniform, which is their memory goes and then it stops.
Yeah.
There's, maybe there's a couple moments here or there where they remember it. Rufalin, which processes through your blood as flunitrazepam, it'll disappear within hours. So, and it won't be caught on many toxicology screens, depending upon what they're doing. So it's something where the evidence for that will dissipate rapidly, and prosecutors and law enforcement are going to be looking at you very hard because, hey, you're the one that pulled the trigger here. We're definitely in some sort of homicide scenario. The question is, was it justifiable or not? And you're going to have to be able to articulate why that is. Now, there's obviously the potential defense of involuntary intoxication, and that's where there's going to be a couple different things. Number one, God willing, there's a very rapid blood draw on you, which is it's not likely to happen unless they transport you to the hospital. Okay. Otherwise, what's likely to happen is you're going to be sitting in the back of a squad car getting transported to the police department, where you're going to be spending the next 12 hours at a minimum with cops saying, "What do you mean you don't remember?" or something like that. And we all understand why.
And is that a situation, I don't mean to cut you off here, but is that a situation where if you wake up when the police are there, you say, immediately take me to the hospital, take my, I feel sick, I need to see a doctor, I need medical attention, something like that?
Well, again, my experience with these folks is that they can often be quite lucid, even though they have no memory of what's going on.
Yeah.
And by lucid, they may not know where they are or why they got there or how they got there or anything like that. But that could be masking any other sort of voluntary impairment. So we're talking about an involuntary impairment defense, possibly layered or mixing in with obviously justifiable self-defense would be the claim. So there could be two issues here. So one avenue to obtaining that evidence is obviously, as I mentioned, the blood draw, yielding hopefully favorable toxicology results. And you're going to want to make sure that even if whatever state crime lab or hygiene lab or whatever they're calling it in your particular jurisdiction, even if that didn't come back positive for flunitrazepam or whatever the agent is, you're probably going to want to take that. Oftentimes they'll draw 2 vials, as you know. You're going to want to see if you can get that second vial sent out for testing at a more exhaustive agency, which is going to test for a lot more things. So number 2, obviously, you have your own testimony about the impairing effects of what's going on. Oftentimes that may not happen until you have the hindsight of the drug wearing off, however. So you may not be able to clearly articulate at the time how impaired you might be. Some people are, some people aren't. And again, certainly at that particular moment in time, even if the officer is running you through a drug recognition expert, a DRE,
Yeah.
okay, so you're throwing up signs for some sort of central nervous system suppressant, a CNS drug on board. But how do they know that isn't something that you're voluntarily taking, as, for recreational use, or something that, you took a little bit too much of and it's prescribed, and you just can't articulate that. So the third thing, okay, so we've got blood draw, we've got your own statement, and the third avenue, and this is probably the one I would be reasonably the most hopeful for yielding a tangible test result. Hopefully the person that did this has a stash in their apartment or house of more drugs. And hopefully there's some sort of corroborating evidence like that. Because I would definitely feel the case would be stronger, obviously, if we have a blood test result, if we've got other pills or whatever it is on the scene, preferably both. Maybe even text messages of the person saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go out and drug someone tonight."
Yeah.
You're probably not gonna have all those. There's a good chance you won't have any. So that's having friends and family members who may be able and willing to step in to try to make those decisions of, hey, they're picking you up at the police department or they're trying to interact with you, which during a homicide investigation, good chance they won't be able to.
Yeah.
But if for some reason they are, this isn't normal for them to be like this, because law enforcement's not going to know what's your normal baseline or not.
Yeah. Yeah. They're coming into this blind and maybe with a preconceived notion about what happened. Certainly this scenario, while maybe it's really rare, it is something that could happen. That in an era where pretty much criminals, they're coming up with something new every day, and it's. I liked your succinct discussion of this was a disaster. I think it is, and I think it's something that people need to be aware about. And obviously, prevention is the key to this.
Right.
Don't hang out with people you don't know very well. Certainly not alone, or certainly not in a situation where something like this could happen.
Check in text messages with friends. Hey, if I don't text you at in an hour, something might be wrong. Just setting up those sorts of things in place can at least give you crumbs of tangible defenses.
Yeah,
God forbid, should
absolutely.
you ever need them.
Yep, something that I hope people don't have to deal with, but it's one of those things where I try to think of everything. So thank you again very much for your insight. And folks, thanks you for watching all the way to the end of this video. And as I promised, we still have that gun giveaway going on, but it will end soon. Down the link in the description, click on that link and you will learn which new gun you could have a chance to win. I'm Kevin Michalowski, Director of Content for the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. If you like videos like this, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification bell. We'll notify you every time we come out with something new. Stay safe. We'll see you in the next video.